Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Trambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshayamamritat. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Gunatita Vaksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamah. Jano Janandidam Satyam Muchyate Bhava Bandhanat. Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Nar Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Vasudev Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Rama Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Shiva Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Badri Narayanaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 23rd of November 2022. We are continuing our exploration of Shri Vivekchudamani, which is a par excellent, extraordinary scripture written by Adi Jagadguru Shankaracharya Ji on Advaitic realization. The realization that I am the Brahman, I am not this limited being. So along those lines, we are examining verse number 65 in depth, specifically to understand just the very first word, that is aptokitam. Aptokitam means the instructions given by the various Guru Paramparas. Guru Paramparas that are genuine Guru Paramparas are going to show the path to realize the Atma, to realize a state of continuous enlightenment, a state of unbroken joy, a state of living a very integrated, balanced, and highly stable life. That is the essence of all of the different paths that are being shown. So yesterday we started talking about bhakti, the path of bhakti, and bhakti yoga specifically. So along those lines, to continue from yesterday we started to talk about Sharavan Bhakti. There are 9 major forms of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana meaning activity to be done. So the first one is Shravanam, and then the second is Kirtanam. So the 9 forms are illustrated in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are something that we can adopt, and we have been doing in our lives to some extent or another in different ways. So I want to go a little bit further today into the Shravan Bhakti, because that Bhakti of Shravan, listening, is a massive, it's a very big Bhakti, and the pathway shown by the Gurus I will try to explain today. So first of all, we have ears. Let's just be very clear, we have ears, the capacity to listen. But what we are listening can be divided into 2 parts. There are 2 different types of sounds. One sound is based on the 3 gunas of Maya, Sattva Gun, Rajogun, Tamogun. The 3 qualities of Maya, we hear those kinds of sounds. So for example, we watch something on TV that has, a lot of romance and all that. Okay, no problem. There's no criticism of anything. But that is Rajogun, maybe some Sattvagun, maybe some Tamogun, like there is some mixture. It's that kind of sound. It is called Gramya. In the Gujarati language, it's called Gramya Varta. It means it's the worldly sounds. Then there's another class of sounds. Another class of sounds that are called Paravani. So Paravani means, or Paravakya, meaning the sounds that are coming by the grace of the divine through the framework of the mind and body, through the great sages, and have come to us. That is called Divyavani. The teachings that are spoken are called Divyavani. And then of course the mantras, any sound, mantra, shastra, stotra, all of this is called Divyavani. Now see the distinction. So when we are listening with our ears at any given point, there is this division between the 2. Now, of course, we are living in this world. We are going to be listening to so many different people, situations, circumstances. To listen within the framework of the material world, without internal disturbance, is a technique shown throughout the scriptures and by all the Gurus. Now, in Swaminarayan Sampradaya, Muktanand Swami used to say, and Gunatitanand Swami used to say beautifully, कि शब्द आकाश नो भाग समझो. What does it mean? It's a very beautiful and easy to understand. That somebody says something to Sachin. Maybe somebody says something very pleasant, or somebody says something insulting. Somebody says something, whatever they say. We listen to it. We try to be aware of what it is. But to not let the outside language of others internally disturb the power of one's own being. Not to disturb one's internal energy. That kind of a barrier of awareness. This is called Janpanu in Gujarati. In Vachanamrut also this is written. Janpanu means awareness. That you are aware that whatever is going on outside, you're aware of it, we're interacting with it, we're listening. Right now we're talking about just listening. You know what happens? Somebody says one word to us and it causes so much agitation inside. One word only. It doesn't even have to be a word, it could just be a facial expression, and it causes so much disturbance. So hold on. Make a determination by the grace of Guru and Bhagwan to not allow anybody on the outside, under any situation, to disturb the internal state. You can make that determination. Now, how do we make this determination? This is where listening to the divine truths of the scriptures, of the gurus, of the teachers, and ultimately within oneself, by listening, by holding jnana inside. What is this jnana? That whatever people are saying, whoever they are, let them say what they have to say. They cannot impact you on the inside unless we as an individual give that person the power to enter into our inner space. See this point. So when Vedvyasji is talking about Navdha Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, this Navdha Bhakti is a tremendous development. In the very first one, Shravan meaning with Bhakti Bhav, we listen to the glories of God through the scriptures with devotion towards God and Samatva towards the Sansar. 2 points. Devotion, bhakti is always towards God, and then that same Paramatma resides in the heart of all. So we're not seeing the person. If let's say some very rajoguni, tamoguni, hateful, angry person comes in front of us, that application, that even that person's activity is rajsik, tamsik, they're angry, they're upset, whatever they may be, that is not what to see first. To see first, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, see in the heart of that individual the presence of the Lord. Wow! What a state of living that is. Bhagavad Gita's teaching is this. Sri Krishna Bhagavan, why the Gita has lasted over 5,000 plus years, and it will continue. It is an eternal Shastra. Because it is spoken by Shri Bhagavan, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. It is not spoken by any human being. It is spoken by that Paramatma through Bhagavan Krishna, as in the form of Krishna, and then through Vedvyasji has come to us through the Mahabharata. So see the teaching. When we see anybody on the outside, it could be a sattvic person, rajasic person, tamasic person, it could be an animal, it could be a plant, a tree, a hateful person, a pandit, a great saint, it could be anybody. Anybody. This is a sadhana we can try today. See the Lord's existence, your Ishta Devata's existence in that person first. You know, in the Hindu tradition, we always say Namaskar, Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ram. You know, all this thing, Namah Shivaya, Shivoham. We always are the tradition. In the tradition, it has come to fold one's hands and to offer respect to that individual. Why do we do that? Why is that done? Because it is the acknowledgement of Bhagavan in that individual first, which sets the stage to listen without bias. This is Shravan Bhakti. We're expanding on that Shravan point from yesterday. How beautiful, what a life that is. Just the Shravan Bhakti is so powerful, it can lead to liberation. There's even a statement in the Shikshapatri of Prithu Raja. Prithu Raja was one of the kings that is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was a great devotee of Bhagavan Vishnu. And he asked, he prayed to Bhagwan Vishnu. When Bhagwan Vishnu came in front of him in the, as a darshan, because of his devotion, God comes to you in different form. In whatever form you want, he will come to you. So he asked Bhagwan Vishnu. Bhagwan Vishnu asked him, what do you want? He said, I want 1,000 years. This is an actual incident from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I want 1,000 years. Why do you want 1,000 years? So I can listen constantly to your glory. What a boon. What is the teaching for us in this? That the Gramya Varta, the Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic activity of the world, we do listen to that with equanimity. The ability to listen to the people in the sansar without the inner disturbance is listening first with the acknowledgement of the presence of God in them, whoever they may be, could be anybody, absolutely, and then to recognize the play of Maya that is functioning and manifesting in that individual, and then to be very steady in that play of Maya. See this point. It is called Chit Shakti Vilasa. It's a very big teaching. The ability to see the sansar as a play, as a vilas of Chit Shakti. Somebody becomes angry, they cannot become angry without the presence of God or the Atma or the energies inside the mind. The person cannot do anything. Even the ability to become angry, the ability to become lobhi, ability to do anything of any activity is only possible because there is Chit Shakti. So when we keep attention, as Ramakrishna Paramans would do, he would see the presence of the goddess Kali in all. He was asked so many times, that when you see people who are hateful people, who are criminals and all this kind of thing, when you see these individuals, who do you see? So when Ramakrishna Paramahansa was asked this question, who do you see when you see these negative people outside and Rajasic and Tamasic and murderers and criminals and all this, what do you see? He says, I see the goddess Kali. So, my God, how can you see the goddess Kali in all these people? He says, it is only Kali that is present there. It is without her power, without the power of Chit Shakti, nobody can do anything in this world. Nobody can speak, nobody can listen, nobody can talk, nobody can express the vasanas, nobody can become Rajasic, Tamasic, nothing can happen. How can it happen? It can only happen due to the presence of Shakti. What a vision this is. Ramakrishna, if you go through Ramakrishna Paramahansa's life, we find this through and through, that his intense love for Mahashakti, for Bhagavati Devi, for the Durga Devi, actually there were multiple temples in Dakshineshwar. It's a big subject, obviously, of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. The point simply that Sachin is making here is that when we are interacting with the people in the external world, in the sansara, the interaction can be through great equanimity. Equanimity means stability of thought and emotion. That stability of thought and emotion is called Sthita Prajna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. This is the question that is asked by Arjuna. Arjuna asks, as the conversation goes on in chapter 2, towards the end portion, Arjuna asks, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhi stasya keshava, sthitatihi kim prabhasheta, kimasita vrajeta kim. He's asking, can you describe, oh Bhagwan Krishna, how can I recognize such a being? How does that person talk? How does a person walk? How does a person live? And what is the answer given? The answer is given, the answer is given about, there's multiple answers given. There's a whole series of about 20-25 verses are all up to the end of chapter 2 in the Gita that is an answer to this question, what is Sthita Prajna? You see, so at the root of that answer is this ability to maintain great stability by changing the vision. दृष्टि का परिवर्तन होना चाहिए. दृष्टि का जब परिवर्तन होता है तब क्या होता है कि हमारे अंतःकरण की भी प्रक्रिया का परिवर्तन होता है. This is Hindi. I don't know Hindi really, but I tried a little bit just here and there. So the point is that when we change the vision, we change the emotional flow of energy, the flow of emotional energy changes right away. I'll give you a simple example. This happened in the life of Muktanand Swami. In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, Sajanand Swami Maharaj's guru was Brahmanand Swami and also Muktanand Swami. It's a very interesting incident. Muktanand Swami was a very great awakened being. He was 30 years older than Sajanand Swami Maharaj. And he was the head of that satsang at that time in Gujarat. It's a long historical story. But as time went on, there were lots of changes, societal changes that were being done by the gurus and by the saints at that time. So there was some opposition. So one time a group of these, what are called these Bhavas in Gujarat, these are like, they're like fake sadhus basically. They're not real, but they want to maintain some control in the society. So they had sticks in their hand and they were approaching Muktanand Swami to beat him. Actually, think about this. See this point. This actually happened. Five or six or seven of these group of people, they came and they were so angry. But when they saw Muktanand Swami, their anger disappeared completely. They put the sticks away and they prostrated in front of him. Dandavat Pranam. How can that happen? They saw the absolute sadhuta, saintliness on the body, on the face. There's no negative emotion at all. Even though somebody is coming to hurt the individual, the person has karuna. You talked about karuna last time. The power of karuna. What is that power? That is Divya Shakti. This is an extreme example. Good Lord, if somebody says one word to us, one sentence to us, some difficulty happens in life, we are ready to trash the individual and do all those things. Practically, we may have to do certain things. Even they had to do it at that time in the past. But internally, not to allow the scarring to happen, not to allow the damage to happen inside our system because of the ignorance and problems of others. Never allow anybody in the sansar to damage the purity, divinity, the shuddhata, the harmony inside. That is not ego. That is a God-given total responsibility for oneself, which is exactly what Bhagwan Krishna is teaching as far as the Sthita Prajna Lakshan, and what Shankaracharya ji is talking about in terms of the very first word, that the instructions given by the gurus. Why the gurus are giving instructions, who they're giving instruction to. They're not giving instruction because they want to make disciples and boost their ego. That's not the reason behind that. They are living in the consciousness of the light of God. And that light of God is shining through them for the benefit of the whole sansara. These are the real Sadgurus. For example, Guru Dattatreya. Let's talk about him for a moment. Guru Dattatreya, what is the glory of Sri Dattatreya ji? And by the way, the word Dattatreya, what is it? He's the son of Aitreya Rishi. So Dattatreya, like Kaunteya, like that. That's how it is in Sanskrit. He's the son of the Rishi, an incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu. A very balanced individual, right? And there's something called Avadut Gita, a very advanced scripture like this Vivekchudamani. There's something called Avadut Gita. It is an Advaitic, one of the topmost Advaitic texts ever written. It's called Avadut Shri Avadut Gita, by the way. Remember I told you there's many different Gitas? That's another one. So it's an amazing thing. So what is the essence of Dattatreyaji's teaching? See this point. Dattatreya made 24 gurus. What are those 24 gurus? The sky, the land, the archer. He just observed nature and he turned it into a guru. How did he do that? Because he is seeing Prakriti in the light of Guru Tattva, in the light of a teaching that he can take, because he doesn't want to be bound by Prakriti. He doesn't want to be bound by Prakriti. So for example, from the earth, he takes the quality of tolerance. See how tolerant the earth is. People are doing terrible things even on the earth and good things on the earth also. They're damaging the earth, but the earth is always tolerant. He took that quality of tolerance that I should be so tolerant. You see, so it is possible to take extraordinary qualities from even just the ordinary vision. So Guru Dattatreya is an individual, and there's so many that have come after him and before him who have lived in that consciousness of taking something meaningful from others, leaving all the negative things aside. Even from prostitute, he took a quality. This is written in the 24 Gurus. How the prostitute became his guru. Think about that. So somebody might say, my God, how is that possible? But he's just said, just the kind of the asakti that is there, the desires that are there for all that stuff that goes on. He says that kind of intensity, if one has towards God, one will realize God. Even in Tulsidas Ji's life, this happened. Tulsidas Ji was 90 plus years old. And he was running after his wife because of Kama Vasana. And his wife said to him, that you're running after me at this age, why don't you run after Bhagwan Ram? Why don't you take the name of Bhagwan Ram? And that spark occurred, and at the age of 90 plus years of age, he sat for dhyan, meditation, started studying the Valmiki Ramayana and started worshipping Bhagwan Ram. And Hanumanji appeared in front of him. Hanumanji was his guru, and from that, this extraordinary Ram Charitmanas scripture came about. Extraordinary scripture which has been foundational in the Sanatana Dharma. So many people have studied it, so many people have got transformation. See, it is listening, it is Shravanam. Listening. God is speaking actually through everyone, all the time, in every situation, at every turn of life. This is the fact. Do we have the ability to listen? That is Brahma Vidya. When we see that Paramatma is speaking to us through the individuals, through all experiences, then one takes a jump into Brahmic state. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. So this is a practical exercise we can do today. Whoever we see, first of all, just bring the bhavana. Paramatma is there. See the Paramatma in the heart of that individual first. You will see the miracle that happens. The interaction will be something very different. Generally, we interact with people on our terms. Oh, I like this thing. I don't like this thing. This happened, that happened, that happened. It goes on. Okay, that's there, no doubt. But before all that, just bring the vision that Bhagavan is present there. It is a vision without division. And in that vision, through that vision, the interactions in the relative world occurs. Whatever relatively you have to do, interact with them and see the miracle. People are talking about miracles. They want miracle step. It's a miracle we can experience today. Not just one miracle. Every day, every moment, every interaction is a miracle. Then if somebody even criticizes us, yells at us, does anything, there's a great steadiness because of the acknowledgement of Paramatma. And the response relatively is coming from that steady space, not from the agitated space. This is what Bhagwan Krishna is asking Arjuna to do in the Gita, and which is for all of us. He's asking Arjuna, you come to that steady space, and then from that you have to fight this war. That is your duty. Fighting the war means what? It means performing one's activity in the samsara. We all have to perform our relative activity. We eat food, we have bodily functions, people that we interact with, so much goes on. But it goes on with a divine vision, but that divine vision, that is not just like a dry vision. It is a divine emotion, divya bhav. It is divine vision with divya bhav. It is called divya drashti and divya bhav that combine together. That divya bhav and divya drashti combine together, and once they combine together, the interaction with the people in the samsara is very steady, loving, and it is non-entangled. It is not binding. This is the key. The binding is not there anymore when these qualities come together. Now, Right now we're just talking about Shravan Bhakti. That is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuhu. Shravan Bhakti, Shravan, listening to the great sages, listening to the great ideas of the scriptures. This is Shravan Bhakti. But also listening to the people in the sansar without internal disturbance and acknowledging the presence of the divine. That is also Bhakti. So now that division between the sansara and that which is beyond, it disappears. This is really Advaita Vedanta. That the division between the three gunas and the gunatit state, it disappears. Because now there is acknowledgement of Paramatma manifesting through the multitude variety of the sansara. Like Ramakrishna Paramahansa would see the goddess Kali everywhere in every situation. That is called samadrishti. Of course, interaction-wise, you have to decide what kind of interaction to have. Samdrishti or samvartan. Samvartan, as much as possible we do. Vartan meaning activity, but it's not always possible. If you have 5 kids at home, you're going to have to interact with them differently. Their needs are different, but the love is the same. The vision is the same. Samdrishti or samvartan. Samvartan is not really possible in the sansar. To some extent it is. The intention should be the same, but the activity is not always the same. Because the needs are different, the context is different, the situation is different. So, because of that, the point here today is that the gurus, the great teachers, have given instructions, and one of those instructions is Shravan Bhakti. To listen carefully to others, keep the internal balance intact, listen to the glories of God, to emotionally connect with Ishta Devata. It is a devotional way of listening. So when we listen to the teachings and scriptures and ideas and whatnot, when we are listening with the intention to realize Bhagavan, then that becomes Shravan Bhakti. Otherwise, it is just listening. It is like this. And see how beautiful it is. It is so practical and applicable. Just to summarize, don't allow anybody on the outside to steal the internal wealth. Keep that internal wealth intact. And that internal wealth is energy, it is intelligence, it is love. Keep it intact. And use it in a way that it grows. Like Mirabai and Tulsidas Ji and others, the great saints, they use this power. And the more they use it, the more they give it away, the more it grows. This is the beauty of this Adhyatmic wealth. The more you use it, the more you give it, the more you share it, the more it grows. And that is the beauty of this also. We'll have to stop today because I have another program to attend in a couple of minutes. Let's do the closing prarthana and then we will continue tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Tomorrow will be 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll continue along these lines. There's a lot to cover. We probably wind up spending maybe even 2 weeks on this one verse. There's just so much. I have just at the very first word only. The second word has so much of the excavation. Amazing things are going to be there, and I'll try to give some more practical examples on what it's all about. Right? So we'll continue tomorrow at 7:30, and we'll just do the closing prarthana right now.